In the summer of 1955, a 14-year-old boarded a train in Chicago. He was excited. It was the first time he would travel alone to visit family in Mississippi. His mother packed his suitcase carefully. She reminded him of something important because where he was going, the rules were different. In Mississippi, at that time, even the smallest mistake by a black boy could become dangerous. But Emmett Till did not fully understand that yet. He had grown up in Chicago, a big city where life was still unfair, but not nearly as dangerous as the Deep South. So when he stepped off the train in Mississippi, he had no idea that just a few days later, his name would become known across the entire world. My name is Byron, and this is Untold America. So today we are looking at one of the most important true crime cases in American history. The murder of a 14-year-old boy named Emmett Till. A crime so brutal. And this crime helped ignite the modern civil rights movement. Now, Emmett Till was born in 1941 in Chicago. His mother, Mamie Till, raised him mostly on her own. She used to describe him as energetic, funny, and full of personality. But on the other side, friends called him Bobo. He loved jokes, he loved music, and like many teenage boys, he sometimes liked showing off. But there was something else about Emmett. As a child, he had developed a slight stutter. To overcome this stutter, he developed a habit of whistling when he struggled with certain words. That small habit later became tragically important. Now, in August 1955, Emmett asked his mother if he could visit relatives in Mississippi. His great uncle lived in a small rural community called Money in Mississippi. At first, Mamie Till was hesitant. She knew the Deep South was dangerous for Black Americans. This was during the era of Jim Crow segregation. Black people and white people were forced to live completely separate lives. Why? Breaking those racial rules could lead to violence. Still, Emmett insisted to visit his relatives. Eventually, Mamie agreed. Before he left, she gave his son a warning. She told him, "Be careful how you act around the white people in Deep South." Emmett promised he would. But a few days later, something happened inside a small grocery store that would change everything. It is August 24th, 1955 now. Emmett and some cousins stepped at a small country store. The store was owned by a white couple, Roy Bryant and his wife Caroline Bryant. At some point during the visit, Emmett allegedly spoke to Caroline Bryant. Exactly what happened inside the store has been debated for decades. Some witnesses said Emmett whistled. Others said he made a comment. But now, Caroline Bryant later claimed he grabbed her and made inappropriate remarks. But many historians believe these claims were exaggerated or false. Regardless of what actually happened, word quickly spread through the town. And in Mississippi in 1955, an accusation like that could be deadly. Early hours of August 28th, Two men arrive at the house where Emmett was staying. One of them was Roy Bryant. The other was his half-brother J.W. Millan. They were armed. They forced their way into the house. Then they demanded to see the boy from Chicago, and he was Emmett. Despite the pleas of Emmett's relatives, the men dragged him out of the bed. They forced him into a truck and drove away into the darkness. No one in that house would ever see Emmett alive again. What happened after the kidnapping remains one of the most brutal crimes in American history. The evidence later showed that Emmett Till was severely beaten. He was tortured. His attackers broke bones in his body. They shot him in the head. And then they tied a heavy cotton gin fan around his neck using barbed wire. His body was thrown into the river. For 3 days later, he was missing. Then on August 31st, fishermen discovered his body. It was so badly mutilated that it was almost unrecognizable. But one item helped identify him, and this was the ring belonging to his father. When the body was returned to Chicago, Emmett's mother made a decision, and this decision changed the history. She insisted on having an open casket funeral. She wanted the world to see what had been done to her son. Thousands of people attended the funeral. Photographs of Emmett's body were published in black newspapers across the America. For many Americans, it was the first time they had seen the true brutality of racial violence in the South. The images sparked outrage, and they ignite growing movement for civil rights. The trial of Roy Bryant and J.W. Millan began in September 1955. The courtroom was segregated. The jury were entirely white. Despite powerful testimony from witnesses, the verdict came quickly. After only about an hour of deliberation, the jury found both men not guilty. The courtroom erupted in celebration. Justice had failed. But the story did not end there. A few months later, Bryant and Millan did something shocking. Because they had already been acquitted, they could not allegedly be tried again. So they sold their story to a magazine. In the interview, they admit to kill Emmett Till. They describe the crime in disturbing detail, and they did it without fear of punishment. The American public was outraged, but the legal system could do nothing. The murder of Emmett Till became a turning point in American history. His death helped inspire a new generation of civil rights activists. Just a few months later, Rosa Parks refused to give up her bus seat in Montgomery. When she was asked why she made that decision, she later said she had been thinking about the Emmett Till. His death became a symbol of injustice faced by Black Americans, and it helped fuel the movement that would eventually change the country. Nearly 70 years later, the name Emmett Till still carries enormous weight. In the year 2022, the United States passed the Emmett Till and Lynching Act, making lynching a federal hate crime. It was a long overdue step toward acknowledging the violence that shaped American history. But for many people, justice for Emmett Till still feels incomplete because a 14-year-old boy went to visit family one summer and never come home.